alive.
No, it's too late. Hi, it's Norman Kochnick here. I've got Debasha Sen, who looks slimmer. You do look slimmer, I must say. I don't, but the problem is with this time frame as well, is people are used to me going a bit earlier. But I'm happy to do this because I think it won't matter in the end. People tend to get the notification and they'll come on, so that's great. Nice to see you again, Debasha. Is that your full Debasha Sen at there?
Yes, Norman.
Also, Prathamesh, he said hello to us both. That's good. We need to. Are you watching? What are you watching yourself on video? Debasha, what are you doing?
No, I'm just sending the live that we just finished, Norman, on my channel. I'm just sending it to you.
It's very interesting how I've noticed. I've noticed with the situation now with cricket,
Norman. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Obviously, the focus with cricket at the moment is clearly, or in the world of cricket, that is on a number of things, from the rankings, the top 10 so-called ODI rankings. Is it ODI and T20, or was it not just ODI? It was
the one that was released today was the test rankings.
Correct. Why did that come out today? I don't get that. Why did that come out today? I wonder why that came out today.
Maybe that's the end of the circle, I believe.
Because maybe, yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
It's funny. Today is an anniversary. I didn't realize this, but I actually started this YouTube channel 1 year ago. But it was not called Eyes on Cricket. It was just my name. It's only around January that I changed it to something with my name on it. So
when did you start? When did you start?
Exactly 1 year. Exactly 1 year ago today, I created this channel.
Okay. All right.
1 year today, but effectively, I didn't use it as a channel until somewhere around January, really. So.
All right.
January 22nd, something. So that was when I started.
That's when you started growing, because with the Australia series and your coverage.
Yeah. When the series came to an end, almost really, is when I started. But before that, I had maybe a handful of videos on there of Chappell or something, or fairly, and there was no real intention. Will a full strength Australia side play against Afghanistan Test match? You know what? They certainly will. They certainly will, because it's their only opportunity to play all year prior to the Ashes. So every Australian cricketer will be wanting to play that match if they're serious about playing Test cricket. Good on Afghanistan getting the Guernsey. That's pretty good. I won't talk too much about the Ashes, but the reality is there is a 5-test match series, including Afghanistan, which will make 6 matches. And obviously there's a game added in Perth. So it's Brisbane, Adelaide, Melbourne, Sydney, Perth, as well as Hobart before, which is the Munchie's joined us. Hello, Munchie. Go Afghanistan. What are you, part Afghani or something, are you, Munchie? What's going on there? Now, Chris Vernon can't make it today either. Keshu will, but Chris wants to do an Aussie and a Pom tomorrow, so I might do one with him. Which is our old fun.
That will be good fun. That will be good fun.
It is.
And I would suggest you should start doing a build up to the Ashes series, because you have some good guests on your platform like Simon Willis and David Gravney, Adam Holyoke, Alan Mullally. So you should get them talking about the Ashes series, kind of a build up to the Ashes series.
Oh, for sure.
Would be brilliant. That would be brilliant.
If Catherine McGregor, I'll be going on her Sky News platform to the build up as well, because I could be, fingers crossed, I could be doing Sky News commentary with a bit of luck. We'll see.
Fantastic.
That's what I'm hoping for. That's what she said she was trying to do. She was trying to create her own feed, because there's obviously Foxtel and there's other things. Well, Sky is on Foxtel, but Fox does their own thing. Sky can also do their own thing as well. Why not? And Jimmy Maxwell's coming on. I told you, I love Jimmy Maxwell. What a great guy. 48 years of radio commentary. He's covered over almost 300 test matches. He's done the voiceover for 300 test matches. Just try and imagine that. Very special. Have you ever heard Jim speak live?
No, Norman. I haven't heard him speaking live.
He's probably the best. Honestly, he's the best. Certainly is the best in terms of those that are around now. He's been there longer than Tony Gregg was, or Ian Chappell. Very special guy. He had a stroke about 5 years ago. And I interviewed about that. He's still going well. Look at a person called That Cricket Guy. Now he's got his own YouTube channel. It's interesting, That Cricket Guy. I'd like to know who you are. Why, with New Zealand, never fall in love with cricket? Why they do fall in love? Why they love rugby so much?
But then rugby is, I think, their number one sport. All Blacks. It's way above than the Black Caps. Rugby is quite up there.
But the girls are very keen on that ball, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Actually, pound for pound. Sorry. Respect. Go to us.
Pardon?
What were you saying?
No, I'm saying that rugby is way up there. I mean, say, when you talk about sport in New Zealand is concerned, they just love their rugby. Same with as Australians love wallabies. So New Zealanders, they love the All Blacks. Everywhere you see they talk about All Blacks. Having been to New Zealand, so I could sense that rugby is hugely popular. You can actually see it on their media reports that the sports pages are filled with rugby news. Cricket does have a space, but that is nothing compared to rugby.
That's true. Australian rugby is probably not the most popular. Rugby league's right up there, and AFL, they're probably more so. There's a question here about, there's quite a few questions that have come out with. Australia doing as a service by not playing cricket, just earning money against England. That's true. I would agree. They need to play more games. They should have played South Africa. That was a mistake. Bill Laurie's not commenting because he's getting old. He would be 80 odd for sure. Who's the favourite Test batsman of current time? Oh, it'd have to still. Virat Kohli still is for me. When he bats well, he's the best. Steve Smith and Kane Williamson. Yeah. What about you, DeBarsis?
Yeah, I think there's someone who is telling some slang words. If I could notice.
In this.
Yeah. In this chat.
Oh yeah, but I mean, I'm not putting those up. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Who are you talking?
So.
Don't worry, I'm not going to put up too many words, don't worry. The Kane Williamson, that's not the real Kane Williamson. Don't worry about it. It's all right. We can forget about that person. How do I rate Kyle Jamieson? Next big thing. And what about Finn Allen? Well, Finn Allen a bit too early. Kyle Jamieson has a bit further to go. It's interesting with the test, let's call it the World Test Championship match. Ishant Sharma and Kyle Jamieson are two players that have been touted as being opposition of each other, aren't they, really, as far as, because we know Trent Boult and Southey will match Bumrah and Sharma. So really, it's that I think really Sharma and Bumrah, Trent Boult and Southey, they're almost equal to each other on an English pitch. Would you agree, Tobias?
Absolutely, because it means it will be a very interesting battle when you look at those two pace attack, both the teams, India and New Zealand. I think they are match for match. So if you look at the pace attack, obviously New Zealand would be having a slighter edge.
I think
English,
they will.
They will, because with the likes of Trent Boult, Neil Wagner, Tim Southey, and Kyle Jamieson, they are definitely a potent bowling attack, the fast bowling attack. But then you cannot count the Indians out as well, because they
No.
have done wonders in recent past. Means the likes of Jasprit Bumrah, Mohammad Shami, Ishant Sharma, Mohammad Siraj, and Shardul Thakur. So I think both this bowling attack looks. I think it will be a battle, because the whoever bowls well, because it will be a battle between both the bowling attacks. If you say, because whoever bats well will win the test match, will the WTC final, I reckon.
So I would argue that India should play Siraj.
Absolutely, and obviously he has done well in Australia. That the last two Test matches in Sydney and Gabba, and also in the recent series against England. So I think Siraj should definitely have a chance, have a fair chance. But I would rather suggest that India should stick with Ishant Sharma, because
Of
Mohammad
his
Shami and
experience.
Mohammad Shami and Jasprit Bumrah are automatic choice. But given the form he is in, Ishant Sharma, obviously he has been prone to injury. He has not. He was. He missed a few matches in recent past. But having said that, Ishant Sharma is too good a bowler. Means and he in recent past he has been bowling well.
So it's a hard one though, because you could argue that both Siraj and Shardul Thakur should be given first go, but they probably won't. I think India will go for a traditional side. And when I say traditional, the most tried and tested players with the most experience, seeing it's such a significant match. Would you agree?
Absolutely, I would agree with you, because if you have to ask me, I would say that both the teams, means New Zealand would have a slight edge, because in recent past, means India haven't done well in the Sena countries. When you talk about doing well in countries like South Africa, New Zealand, and England, means they have not done well in all these three countries. And having said that, they lost both the test matches, and that too miserably in New Zealand at the start of the year in 2020. So that might be working on their minds. And New Zealand, if you say that they would have the advantage of playing two test matches in England, that would be a huge advantage for New Zealand, because they would be more acclimatizing to the conditions, the situations. So I think that the experience of playing two test matches leading up to the T20, leading up to the World Test Championship, that will be huge, which would not be the case with the Indians, because the Indians would only be practicing at Southampton. Obviously,
So
they
why?
would
So
they
why?
would be allowed.
But we've asked this before. Why didn't they go earlier? I still don't understand why
They
they
are
didn't
they
go
are
earlier.
going normally. They would be leaving for England on the 2nd of June. So it's a long time. Obviously, they had to quarantine for 10 days, which is mandatory for anyone traveling from India to the UK. So they have to quarantine. But the good thing is that BCCI and ECB had worked out so that the Indians would be allowed during their quarantine period. That's the reason the Indian cricketers would be going into a bio bubble on May 23rd in Mumbai. They would be entering a bio bubble here in India, so that they don't have to quarantine for 14 days when they reach UK. So maybe for 10 days, but during that quarantine period, they would be allowed to train at the AGS Bowl. So that is something good for the Indian team, and also the fact that they are taking a bigger squad. So I
Keep talking to us. Hello, Kesha.
Yeah. So the thing is that, as I was mentioning, that the fact that they would be allowed to practice during their quarantine period, that I think that would work in their favor. But then, nothing like a match practice. If you ask me, obviously New Zealand will have that cushion of playing two Test matches before they head into the World Test Championship, which won't be the case for the Indian team, because they would only be practicing. They would be only be having a stimulation practice, so as to say, at the AGS Bowl.
No, it's true. Welcome, Kesha. What's this Go T-shirt?
It's I think it's for coronavirus. It's a message for the virus. Please go.
Go
Please.
away.
Yeah.
What does it say below? Go something?
No, nothing. That's the
Go,
virus.
go. Okay.
And that's corona.
Well, we had one couple that had the coronavirus. We went into a panic, started wearing masks again, but that's already stopped. We're so lucky, I'm afraid to say, in Australia, way too lucky. You guys are suffering. Are you noticing any changes at home? Is there any improvements? Either of you? Hello, Nilak. Oh, by the way, hello, Nilakshi Sharma. You've joined us. What do you think, guys?
It's slightly better in Mumbai. Like a month ago, there were more than 10,000 daily cases coming, but now it's dipped down to 2,000, 3,000, something like that. So that way, yeah, there's been Mumbai is doing better, but the other parts of the country is still not that great, and the overall cases in India are still, I think, upwards of 4 lakhs a day.
Yeah, I think it's going to get. I think it may get worse before it gets better, though. I think they're talking about a peak around. When was it? The peak's around May 15th or something, or the next few days. The so-called peak. Have you heard that?
No,
I think we are there are talks about a third wave hitting India. I mean, that will be very disconcerting because that might affect the children's as well, which is very very concerning because the vaccine is for only for age 18 years and above. So I think if it does affect the children, that will be very very damaging and disconcerting. If you tell me.
And there's something else called a black something. They're talking about like a fungus, which is emanating from not from the virus, but from the general situation of people being run down. That's also going through people. It creates a blackness around the nose and mouth. Have you heard about that? Is that true?
No, I haven't heard of it.
If it's a WhatsApp forward, please don't believe in something like that because half of the time, these things are.
That was not a WhatsApp forward. That was actually on a report that I saw on Al Jazeera, which is normally a reputable channel. So I wouldn't go off a WhatsApp forward. Don't worry, I'm not that silly. I'm not going to go. If I went off WhatsApp forwards, they'd be saying I look like 21-year-old or something. No, the reality is that there is something. I mean, look, when there is one, there's more. We know that. Unfortunately, a lot of issues are created by being run down. But let's not talk about it.
Someone says Ashwani Rana. He says black fungus due to contaminated water.
Right. Yeah.
It's the same Ashwani. If you remember, Norman, the friend of mine who once came and asked a lot of questions about England cricketers from the past.
Right. So the Lakshmi Sharmas took the.
I think that's a good question. If World Test Championship final ended with a draw, then which team will lift the trophy? It will be shared. It will be shared between both the countries. Obviously, there's a reserve day, and with rain expected during that time in Southampton. So, if the ICC has kept a reserve day, so 90 overs, if they don't finish 90 overs a day, so the match will go on to the reserve day. But even if the match ends in a draw or a tie, then the trophy would be shared between both the countries. Both India and New Zealand will share the World Test Championship final trophy.
Is that a way you want to finish it, though? Wouldn't you prefer to get a result? Wouldn't you prefer to have something like, let's have a super over again and watch New Zealand lose again? Oh,
come on, no way, Norman.
That was the worst.
There has been enough criticism of the World Cup final that we have witnessed in 2019. That was a horrible rule, the rain rule. So New Zealand deserved every right to hold that trophy. They should have won that.
But let's be honest. Let's look at the way World Cups have gone. Every country that hosted the World Cup has won it. The last few, India, England, and Australia all won World Cups when they hosted. Is that a bit suspicious?
So 2023, India is hosting the World Cup. Would you mean to say that India will lift the World Cup?
Yes.
But then the T20 World Cup will be T20 World Cup will be shifted to UAE.
Well, UAE will win. That'll be a boil over if you suddenly UAE qualify. So, Kesha, when will you do a video with Azjad? What's the story?
IPL got suspended in between, so I was doing IPL videos with Azjad. So I'm not sure when we resume once again.
Right. It looks like people have been. I mean, I have been a bit under the
Any
weather the
practice
last few
match
guys.
scheduled for Indian team? No, not practice match as such. Ashwani Rana, he asked, any practice match scheduled for Indian team before World Test Championship? And no, there won't be any practice match as such, but then there would be definitely simulation practice at the AGS Bowl. That's the reason they are taking a 20-member squad. So they would be playing more of a simulation practice. They have a very good facility at the Southampton at the AGS Bowl.
Beautiful ground. I love it.
There are a lot of practice pitches behind the stadium, behind the main ground, and the facilities out there are just brilliant. So I think there won't be much complaint from the Indian side. But then, as far as practice match is concerned, there won't be any, because they would just be going into the World Test Championship final without any match practice.
Yeah, look, there's nothing like a match, though. I'm afraid any practice is not the same as a match. Let's be honest. So they will be distinctly disadvantaged, and I'm a bit annoyed that we aren't able to see both New Zealand and India have the same amount of preparation for the World Test Championship to be as fair as possible and to be as balanced as possible. I would have felt they would have both should have been given the same opportunity to have played some sort of warm-up properly. That's my thoughts. Now, Munchie, who's our resident Englishman, the AGS Bowl has the Hilton Hotel on site, which makes bubble security easier. Are you saying bubble as in buy a bubble or bubble-y as in champagne? Because it's a Hilton.
Bio bubble, obviously. He wanted to mean bio bubble.
Why Hilton Hotel bubbly? That goes with that. What do you mean? No, I don't. So we're getting lots of questions. Okay. I know much was bio, I know, but I thought you were talking alcohol. There's a lot of discussion about Tim Payne's comments. Look, there are lots and lots and lots of issues with Australia. I'll tell you now. Justin Lanka disagreeing with the fact that Steve Smith came out. Tim Payne really is on tenterhooks as whether he's going to be leading the country. There's going to be so much discussion around the Australian team. There's a lot of dissension going on, both with management, coaching, and players. It's a mess. England are going to smack us. That's my thoughts. England will come to Australia and smash us. What do you think, Keshav?
See, I think both the teams have a few loopholes. For Australia, it's I think the opening conundrum who will open with Warner, and that the middle order who will play at 5 and 6. These are the possible loopholes. And for England also, I mean, same again. Openers are not really that experienced. This English summer would be very important for Rory Burns and Sibley and Crawley. And then again, for England, I think again they have more options in the bowling, so they will be smart to rotate around, which Australia weren't actually against India. They just kept playing all the 4-star bowlers. Pattinson didn't get a game. They got fatigued by the end, so they lost. So I think both teams have a few things to sort out, but England might have the upper hand because they would have played 7 test matches, high-octane test matches against New Zealand and India, and Australia just playing Afghanistan. So that's not a great preparation going into the
Yeah. Exactly. It's interesting. Jofra Archer's back, isn't he, Debash? I saw that.
Yeah, he had a good. He did play the match today, right? And he did well. He did well also.
Very well.
Yeah.
Which is a big plus, a huge plus.
Yeah, I think even when IPL was on, he was due to make a comeback around this second half of the IPL as well. So, do you think he would be playing the New Zealand Test matches, or would they be actually, just preserving him for the India Tests?
I don't know. I think they're going to hold him back. to be honest. I don't think they'll risk him because that would be a bit too much. It's interesting though because imagine if the IPL was still on, we wouldn't be anywhere near the finish yet, would we? We've still got 2 weeks to go, almost 3 weeks. Isn't that amazing? It feels like it's been 2 weeks since the last match, roughly, hasn't it? Something like that.
10 days, yeah.
But it feels like a month ago. That was a hard 29 matches, I tell you. Oh,
very hard time.
Oh,
I am grateful that we are not doing lives anymore. Means waking up till 10:30 and doing live means finish our live and then coming for your life. That was means it was taking a toll.
Bloody Kesha playing bloody music until all hours and playing. Imagine, oh my God, that was 7 o'clock in the morning. Jesus. At least now, there's no hope of us being on that long. We're not going to be on for 7 hours now, I can assure you. No hope of that. So,
but it would be a struggle for you, Norman. Means if you means obviously, I do believe that you would be doing your live shows after from England series. So
I'll be all right. Did you see that?
Yeah, you posted, no? You posted this.
That's Steve Waugh's lovely little leather band and thing. I'll try and get some. I'll try and get some more. Steve Waugh interview was. I don't think I've seen you both since I've done that. Was magnificent. He was so relaxed, so casual. We talked for hours. He just talked about everything. He talked about his thoughts on Test cricket, but mainly he talked about his book. But he was such a nice bloke. He really genuinely loves India. Okay? There are players that are playing for Australia that I'm afraid don't genuinely love India, that are there for one reason, it's money.
No, I don't agree.
You don't agree?
I don't.
Are you serious? Are you serious?
You mean to say that for someone like a Pat Cummins is only playing for money in IPL? I don't agree because
no, I'm not saying. Did I say Pat Cummins? Did I say Pat Cummins?
No, means you cannot generalize every Australian.
I didn't say that. I said there are some.
Some, obviously some.
Shall we mention one name? Who's the person who I'm going to mention? Who sticks out the most?
See, I don't want to take any names, but I think Devashish, sir, he said Pat Cummins because during the IPL when we were discussing that, he showed off the donation and even Brett Lee, that Bitcoin thing. So maybe he was coming from there.
No. But Pat Cummins, I don't think really meant to be sensationalising. Brett Lee did. This whole Bitcoin. Did you hear Bitcoin fell through the floor today? Did you hear about that? Bitcoin. Elon Musk come out and said something about Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's gone through the floor today. Anyway, Brett Lee, absolutely, money's his driving force. Pat Cummins, probably not as much, and Dave Warner. There's no doubt. He's not. He's in it for the money in that country. I'm sorry. And I'm being honest. I'm not being nasty or derogatory. I'm just stating facts. Okay, and I'd say most people would agree with me there. Not all the players, no, but there are a few that their motivations are not a love of India. But Steve Waugh, genuine love of India. I show the names on my screen. Where are they? Are there? It's just because you didn't see them because I had the other thing on there.
Another one which comes to mind, in terms of genuine love for India, Jonty Rhodes, because he actually named his daughter India.
Yeah, it's a nice name though. It's a beautiful name.
Yeah.
Well, what about David Honours? I think the one of her daughter's name is Indy, somewhat inspired by India, from India, I think.
please, Debasis, don't try to compare calling your kid. So if I call my kid Australia, does that mean I love Australia? I wouldn't call my kid Australia. That's a dumb name. India's just a nice name. It's not specifically because it's India, the country. It's India, the name's a nice name. Like, I wouldn't call my daughter Bangladesh, for example. or Zimbabwe or something. That's dumb because they're not names. But India's a name. So don't tell me that, they called my daughter India, therefore I deserve millions from India. Rubbish.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure.
But then David Warner I think he shares a very, very good bonding with the people in Hyderabad.
Debasis.
But that's more because of the TikTok videos, isn't it?
Debasis. Don't forget, he said his daughters showed him TikTok. Since when the baby children have
you should
TikTok?
you should ask Boria Mujumdar. About David Warner.
But I mean, but Buria's a nice bloke. A lot of people like Buria, okay? Michael Clark's a good friend of Buria, right?
Yes.
But that's not the point, Debasis. Don't kid yourself. If you're going to try and tell me that Dave Warner loves India because it's India, if there was money to be made in Kathmandu or I'm joking, say Bolivia, he would go to Bolivia. Are you kidding me? Come on. Are you serious? No, I'm sorry, it's not true.
So you mean to say that the English cricketers they also come and play in India for money, the IPL?
That's okay. But don't make out you love the country.
So suppose the Indians, if they have an opportunity to go to Australia and play the BBL for money, won't they go?
Yes, of course they will. But they won't call their child Sydney.
What's wrong in Australians coming and playing in the IPL to earn money?
Nothing. But just don't say that you love the country and you're going there because you love the country, not the money. That's not true. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with you can go there for the money. I don't have a problem with that. But to say that, don't make out that the money's not important. I just love India. Rubbish. You get my point, don't you? I'm not being derogatory. I'm just stating facts. Okay? But Steve Waugh went back there taking photos because he loved doing that. Okay? He's made books of it, yes. But he has a love and a passion of photographing people playing cricket. That's his passion. That's true. It's not someone paying him to do it. He did it he produced the book himself. He packed them.
Not just the book. I would say if you are to tell me about Steve Waugh, obviously his compassionate work with the work he did at Udayan.
Absolutely.
The work he did at Udayan speaks volumes of his.
Absolutely. That's what I'm getting at. That all of those aspects is a true love of the country.
Very few people would come forward and helping the leprosy children.
Exactly.
And that is what Steve Waugh is. For me,
absolutely.
Steve Waugh, the person, the human being, describes in that work.
Absolutely.
The work he has done at Udayan.
Absolutely. That's what I mean. I shouldn't just say the book. His work every aspect. He truly loves India. He loves people. He loves to see the girls.
Absolutely. I have been to Udayan. I have been to Barakpur. You ask any kid out there, they all love Steve Dada. That's what he is popularly called there, Steve Dada. For them, Steve Dada. Whenever Steve makes a visit to Calcutta and drops in at Udayan, means you can see their faces. They have someone who is so caring for them.
Exactly, and that's what I'm getting at. Genuine love of people, love of Steve Waugh has a love of those who have disability, those with leprosy, those with girls, the young children. It's a true love of what he saw and the sights and smells and sounds of India. Like I do. I love Sri Lanka. I love India. I love Bangladesh. I love those countries, not because of money. I want to spend money. I want to give them whatever money I have. It's that's the truth of it. I mean, look. There's nothing wrong with a player loving a place because they love it, great. But if it's there for money, just say it. Don't be embarrassed to say, I do like the country because I've got a good income out of it. There's nothing wrong with saying that. But don't make out that it's something else. That's all I'm saying. All right. I've said my bit. So, I mean, like the international girls that come to Australia, they don't necessarily all love Australia. They love the opportunities Australia gives them to earn money. So that's why, and I respect that. Because I've had Lakshmi De Silva, the Sri Lankan cricketer, speak to me today. She still wants to come to Australia after she retires. Do I like England, Norman? The place, Lakshmi? You mean the place? Of course I do. I love England. I love most countries of the world.
I have a call to attend, Norman. If you can excuse me.
Okay. All right. You all right, Tomas? Okay. All right. So, how are you been? I've noticed your show's gone really well. You had a very good anniversary show. You had some people on there that are quite interesting.
Yeah. So the channel completed 1 year on 10th of May, and I got this cricket YouTuber who was also my first collaborator back in the day. So I thought, who better than him to call again on the channel. I had collaborated with him on his channel as well. I had made the music intro for his channel, and then he was the first guest on my YouTube channel as well. So there's a mutual respect and understanding that way, which is important. So he was generous enough to come on board, and yeah, that video got more than like 5,000 views, which is a huge deal for a new channel like me with hardly 1,000 something subscribers. So yeah, it went well.
That's good. It's actually you know what? Well, it's now the 14th, but what's the third? Where you are, the 13th. It's my year. I have a 1 year anniversary as well. Would you believe?
Okay.
But my 1 year anniversary is a little bit different. I didn't go full on. I just created the channel, and I put a couple of videos on more for fun. I only took it seriously in January when I really began to take it. I think I renamed it in January, actually. It was just Norman Koshnik as well. So yeah, that's I didn't realise it was 1 year for myself today, but it's a little bit different in terms of I wasn't as full on as I am now, that's for sure.
But how are you? You seem to be a bit under the weather.
Yeah, the last few days I was shot. I was basically, it wasn't a flu. It was just a bit run down. That's all. Just needed a break. I was just flat, very flat. Is
it getting cold over there?
Yeah, it's a bit cold. It's not freezing cold, but it's getting cold. It's sure. It was still 23 degrees Celsius today, which is, you would argue, is warm, but it dropped to about maybe 16 degrees now. Probably about 15 degrees at the moment. What temperature is it? Yeah, it's around 15 degrees. So, and I've got a bit of a sniffle, so people think I've got COVID, but I haven't. I've just got a sniffle. Yeah. So, do I like England? Of course, I know Nilakshi Sharma likes England because she likes Chris Vernon. So, don't you?
Is it the same Nilakshi who joins us over here?
Yeah. It's the same Nilakshi.
She congratulated me, so thank you so much.
Munchie said, cold. You want cold? Come here. I know, Munchie. I know it's cold where you are. It's even summertime. What, Munchie, what's the temperature there today in England? Tell us. Give us a bit of an understanding.
How hard would it be to play cricket in cold over there, like when New Zealand plays them in a couple of weeks?
They literally have to get lots of tea, hot tea into them. They wear, some of them wear gloves, actually.
Yeah, think about the county teams who play, they start in April, which is even more colder.
Especially, there's no south or north, it doesn't really matter too much, but some of the areas where it's low valleys, where the grounds are, and there's one ground there, Hamilton, which is one of the, I think it's the home of cricket, you could argue. That's where the actual rules of cricket were written. That's the wind factor there, wind chill factor is disturbing. Munchie says it's 13 degrees Celsius. It's warmer here and it's midnight. Pocket warmers are used. You can't wear gloves. Okay, so that's what Munchie said. Well, pocket warmers, gloves, same thing as it's in your pocket rather than It's on your hands the whole time.
Yeah, the other day, even Chris was mentioning that he also prefers playing in extreme heat in Sri Lanka rather than, the extreme cold in England.
I'll tell you what, playing in Sri Lankan temperatures when it's 40 plus 45 degrees Celsius and you're profusely sweating before you even enter the field, before you even start the field, is very taxing. So what have we got here from? What should be India's strategy to handle the New Zealand paces? Should India play Chappell instead of Ashwin? Yes. And full paces, or should India play full paces and extra batsmen like Vihari? It's a great question. My side would be Rohit Sharma. You're not going to be able to change the order. Rohit Sharma, Gill with Pujara, Kohli, Rahane, and I would probably consider Vihari playing, which would mean only one spinner, or punt as well. Don't forget punts. I would pick one spinner. It's going to be Jadeja. Ashwin won't play. And the bowling, I'd have Siraj in the attack. Whether he plays for Ishant Sharma or not is the question.
I think India will go with the spinner. If it's Southampton, right? So Moeen Ali has been, he has done good against India, especially in the last two tours. So by the time we get to Southampton, I think they would want to look at the results that were produced in the county games going into the final. So if at all it's not spinning as much, so they might go with 3 pacers and 1 spinner. But if it's helping a bit, then maybe they can go with Jadeja and Ashwin both at 7 and 8, because Jadeja can definitely bat at 7. He's good enough. Ashwin can bat at 8. So after that, I think the 3 for me should be Bumrah, Shami, and Siraj. I want to have Ishant Sharma just on emotion or loyalty, because it's a goddamn final. You got to be ruthless with the selection, and based on current form and Siraj's ability to move the ball, I think he should be playing ahead of Ishant. In case they go with 4 pacers, then maybe Ishant can come in.
I would consider. I mean, what's to say you don't play any spinners at all?
See, there are over rates as well, and then I mean, you don't want to.
It's a test match. It's a test match. That's not going to be a problem.
No, even in test matches, I mean, sometimes there are like 83, 84 overs in a day, and people are fined for it, or some sort of implementation is done after the game. But I think 1 spinner should be there. Even for New Zealand, they might play Santner. If I mean, their selection is also pretty much sorted, isn't it? If we talk about New Zealand, they'll open with Latham and Blundell, then 1 down Williamson, 2 down Ross Taylor, 3 down Henry Nichols, 4 down BJ Watling, who's going to retire after that. And then, you go into the bowlers, Santner, and the 4 quicks, Jamieson, Southey, Bolt, and Wagner. So they also pretty much select themselves. That
So
way, I think.
You're saying 5 bowlers, 4 pacers and a spinner. So
Yes.
I don't think that India will not play Jadeja and Ashwin. I'm pretty sure not going to play both.
Yeah, again, as I said, it depends on the conditions and the pitch. If they think that there would be some assistance by the 5th or 4th day, and even the 6th day in this case, because there is a reserve day as well. So this test might go to 6th day if it's raining and the result is not there. So you don't know. I mean, if I had to pick 1 spinner out of the 2, I might go with the. Again, it's a difficult one. You might want to see how many left-handers are there in New Zealand side, because picking between Ashwin and Jadeja, I think Ashwin as a test spinner has more pedigree, but then Jadeja can contribute more with the bat, maybe down the order. So yeah, it's going to be a tricky decision if they have to choose between 2 of them.
Yeah, I think It does, and the Bastards would agree with this. The Bastards would say to you that they're going to go with probably Ishant Sharma. Even though they should go for Siraj, they're probably going to go for Ishant Sharma with Shami and Bumrah. Those three. And Jadeja. It's just a matter of whether they have Ashwin or not. Or whether they have if they're going to have a fourth bowler, it may not be Ishant Sharma. It may well be Shardul Thakur, because he does generate a fair bit of swing, and doesn't he? He's a pretty good bowler. On an English pitch, he'd be pretty good.
I doubt that Shardul or even Washington, for that matter, would get a chance in that final. Maybe going ahead in the England series, 5 test matches there, they might get. But this one, I think India has to pick the best 11. Does Shardul Thakur get into your best 11? I don't think so. There are 11 better players available than him, more experienced and more skillful at the moment. So Shardul might not.
Okay, give me your 11. Go through from top to bottom.
I think the top 6 select themselves. Everyone would have the same top 6. As you said, Gill, Rohit, Pujara, Kohli, Rahane, Pant. And then it's the question of the remaining 5. I mean, you can be tempted to play Vihari because he would have spent a considerable amount of time in England playing county cricket, even though he's not churning out a lot of runs, but at least he would have acclimatized better than others. So there could be a temptation to play him. He can bowl a little bit of off spin as well, as we have seen in the past. So, and the 3 bowlers as well for me, Shami, Bumrah and Siraj. So essentially it's just that couple of spots, whether you play Jadeja, Ashwin together, or you play Jadeja alone or Ashwin alone. So I think for most of the people, 9 out of 11 are very easy to pick. The rest 2 are the difficult ones.
Yeah. I just don't know whether they'll play both Jadeja and Ashwin. I don't think they will.
Even for New Zealand, I mean, I said they might play Santner, but who knows? They might actually play Colin de Grandhomme or Daryl Mitchell at number 7. So they could actually go with 5 pacers without any spinner. If they have to bowl any sort of spin, Kane Williamson might have to roll his arm.
Now look at this. This is funny. There's been some byplay between Munshi and Nilakshi Silva. Nilakshi said, "Which team are you going to support, New Zealand or India?" And Munshi said, "The umpires." And then Nilakshi said, "That's sad." And then Munshi had a little laugh, saying that I have Indian and Kiwi friends. I don't want to upset either. Munshi, you're going to have splinters in your backside. Splinters in your backside. So make it, Munshi. I don't want splinters coming out of your backside. Get off the fence and back one of the 2 teams.
I think for Munshi in this case, the perfect result would be a draw, because both the teams would get to share and both his friends would be happy as well.
Munshi, no, I want you to tell me, I want you to pick a team, India or New Zealand. No pussyfooting around. So they fence can't hold my way. It might be the case, but then get off before it splinters you.
A lot of questions about Tim Paine today.
Yeah, he's coming out of he's finally broken the ice, because he'd been very quiet through all the period that Steve Smith had been saying things about him being the next captain and saying he's, pledging to be captain. And then Justin Lanka very rightfully said, "Who asked you? Did anyone ask you, Steve Smith?" No. Tim Paine's still the captain. Whether we want him or not, he's still the captain. So I'd be very shocked if they change him before the first match, the way that they're talking. At least the coach.
Did you see the Fox Cricket podcast where he appeared, actually?
Tim Paine?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was basically very defensive was the right word. He's obviously feeling the pressure. He's got to be very, very careful, because he should not mouth himself out. Shouldn't be not mouthing too much, because he's best saying nothing. He doesn't need to say anything, because the moment he gets involved in some sort of discussion, it gives Steve Smith the opportunity to retaliate. There must be dissension there must be something not really good between Steve Smith and Tim Payne, to be honest with you, because Steve Smith would never come out and talk about him being captain when there is an existing captain. That's really quite disrespectful to the current captain, regardless of whether he should be there or not. You don't do that.
Yeah.
So it was a very silly decision.
So
Munchie's picked. I will back India as they have played more tests to get the World Test Championship in New Zealand. I would agree with you.
That's a good reason.
But I would argue that because New Zealand are going to be getting a lot more practice matches under their belt, that they may slightly have an advantage going into it. Whether they perform on the day is another thing.
Yeah, but
I don't want to draw.
For Munchie, it's a good reason because I agree. I mean, New Zealand actually, if you see the whole WTC cycle, they won just one away test. They won in Sri Lanka, and after that they lost 3-0 to Australia. They didn't do a Bangladesh. So mostly they won at home. So that way I think India was a better team in that whole cycle. But again, it all boils down to that one day. Do you think that in future ICC should actually look at a 3 test match series for the final rather than one-off test?
If time allows, yes, because it would create a lot more of a tit for tat. You know, so I could come back and that would make it interesting. But I don't believe in a draw. You don't have a final of a World Test Championship and have a draw. That doesn't make any sense. They need to have one way of concluding it.
But I don't think we'll get a draw because 5-6 days in this case, and test matches hardly get drawn these days. I mean, especially in England, Duke Ball's doing a lot, especially in this season in June. I don't think I can't actually remember when India played a test match in June in England. So this will be new for them as well because most of the Indian test series, they start in maybe late July or August. So June
it may be new, but it's not new to play in those conditions though.
Not those conditions, but June actually it's a bit tougher to play in England than July and August because it gets a bit dry by then. So yeah, I mean New Zealand will have a huge advantage going to going into the game, having already played 2 test matches, and they have very similar kind of conditions back home. So that way, I think India should be wary of New Zealand in this one.
Yeah, it's. I just hope we don't have a draw. In fact, I don't think either team will play for a draw. They're going to be playing for a win.
Yeah,
They're going to play a game where they'll attack. And that only lends itself to a more strengthened bowling alignment. I think you're right that we may have 5 bowlers named, Jadeja plus 4. And in the case of New Zealand, the 4 pacers, which clearly Southey, Bolt, Jamieson and Wagner will definitely play.
See, if India goes with 4 pacers and Jadeja, then I'm damn sure that the 4th pacer would be Shardul because of his batting abilities. Because you don't want to have Jadeja at 7 and then Tail. So you do want to have a bit of insurance down the order. So if India plays 4, then it has to be Shardul, Shardul, Bumrah, Shami, and Siraj for me. But I just think that they might go with Ishant. Yes, he has had a great record in recent years as well. Last England tour, he did well against left-handers especially. But based on current form, and he's also injury-prone. So just imagine, what if he gets injured in the middle of the test match? So that, you don't want that.
I'd like to see an unlimited days test match, meaning that they play until they get a result. That's my idea of a test match.
That used to happen back in the day, isn't it?
Of course.
Yeah.
To me, that would be, because it's a final, a one-off, why not just play until the result happens?
Yeah.
Why not?
But see, realistically, I think 6 days should be enough. Even if one session is rained out every day, that still leaves you with what, like 12 sessions?
I just have to get a result. I have to get a result. I don't want to have a draw. That shouldn't happen. And if it comes to a situation where it's 5th day and they need 50 overs to finish the match or something, then just keep playing.
Yeah.
So what did Munchie say he's going? Thanks, Munchie, for coming. It's good to have you there.
So somebody asked who wins the trophy if there is a draw. So trophy will be shared between the two teams.
So what, do they have it for 6 months of the year each? I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't believe in sharing a trophy. It's
dumb. Like, do you remember the 2002 Champions Trophy, which was held in Sri Lanka? There were two finals. Both were rained out. Like India and Sri Lanka were playing. First innings, they played one innings in both the games. And then they eventually were announced joint winners. If you remember, 2002 Champions Trophy in Sri Lanka.
So we've got Ashwani Rana there who wants to join. Just like I did to you.
Yeah.
Remember, I did the same thing to you. Why not? You want to give him a go? We'll give him a go, huh? Oh, hang on. Now he's getting cocky. We're losing a chance to interact with him. Does that mean you're worth it getting interacted? You're on my, I think you're on my, so yeah, Debas has just had to go.
Is he not coming back?
No, he has some work commitments to do.
Somebody wants to collaborate with the Great Cricketer on the Great Cricketer podcast. Okay.
Okay, so hang on, I've got a nation. So I've forgotten how to. So what's Zara Tara? Who's Zara Tara? I've got to find. What was it? I should have his number. Hang on. I'll just invite a guest. So the Bastards are not. Do you use StreamYard when you do your recordings?
Sorry, what?
What platform do you use when you do your recordings?
If I'm doing live, I do StreamYard only. But if I'm recording, then I do Zoom.
I'm just going to find this. What was that guy's name again?
Ashwani.
Okay. Oh, okay. We're sending you a link. He's your mate, isn't he?
Yeah, he was on my channel. And then I told him about your platform. And the other day he came for the first time and he was asking Alan and David a lot of England-related questions.
Yeah. But, do you know him personally?
Yeah, I know him. He's from Punjab.
But do you know him as in by way of a link or by way of what?
No, I've had personal interaction with him. Not just the collaboration, but personally also I've texted him. There was a question earlier. Who do you think would be captaining India in Sri Lanka? Do you have any choices for that?
No. Hello.
Hello. Hello.
You need Ashwani. Can you go in the middle? Go to your right. Go to your right.
Okay.
So how are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. Normal.
That's good. So you know Keshu, obviously. Don't you? You know Keshu?
Yes, I know him very well.
Okay. All right. So the question we were just asking them was about the captain for the India-Sri Lanka series. Is that what the question you're asking?
Yeah.
I mean, you have to. I mean, there's either Shikhar Dhawan or Hardik Pandya. Because of Shikhar Dhawan's experience levels, I would give it to him as a priority. He has captained at certain levels, and it looks like he's the favoured player. Hardik Pandya is worthy of being involved in the captaincy or the leadership group, but he may not be the captain. I think that's what's going to happen.
I am not really in favor of Shikhar Dhawan being the captain because, see, he's 35 now, and a series like this should be used if you want to groom somebody for the future. So if Shreyas Iyer would be available for the series, I would make him the captain. And if he's not there, then I think from the current lot, there is Prithvi Shaw, who actually led India to Under-19 World Cup win. He led Mumbai to Vijay Hazare Trophy as well recently. So you want to invest in somebody like that because against Sri Lanka, who's relatively an easier side to play, you don't really want to go back to Shikhar Dhawan just because he's the senior most player in the team. That wouldn't really help.
I don't think the captain of this match, whoever it will ever captain India. To be honest with you.
No, I mean, if you go for Prithvi Shaw, there is a future captain in him. He's just 20 years old.
Yeah, but I don't think he has to get his batting sorted out before he's even considered for captaincy. Okay.
No, but I think Norman, his white ball batting is much more in place than red ball batting. He showed in the Vijay Hazare IPL. So I think if he's in the team for all 6 games, that is one captaincy option.
Yeah, I just don't think. I think the reality is that Shikhar Dhawan has played Test cricket, as in the true sense of the word, and for a fair degree of time. And on that basis, you have to go with experience more than someone new coming through. This tour is not experimental. This is not like I think that there's more emphasis on having experience in the captaincy rather than blooding. Sure doesn't need blooding. I get the point. He is a captain in the future. But
I have a question then. What would you achieve by having Shikhar as the captain? There's nothing to be achieved over there. And it is an experimental squad because all of your first choice players are in England. So it is experimental.
I actually don't. I have a different belief than you do. It's not all about grooming and bringing through young players all the time. You've got to have an element of who's the best player at that moment, at that time, to captain. And I think that's sometimes lost. And India need to be careful because they've got so many new young players coming through. They have to have stability about what they do too. And they have to get people to earn their stripes. And I think Prithvi Shaw's batting, he's not even the standby batter for the team when he should have been. He was literally the first person, one of the first openers picked to go to Australia and fell away.
Yeah, but that's again in test matches. You don't really.
Well, that's what we're talking about. This is meant to be okay. The series in India is not, as in Sri Lanka, is not it's not a test team warm up. You're right, but I don't. I think you can go either way, but I think they need to go with experience. That's my.
No, but Norman, just because
they've been talking about Shikhar Dhawan and Hardik Pandya, one of those two.
Yeah, but then just because Shikhar is your most experienced player or the best batsman currently in that side, doesn't mean he's a good captain as well. I've never rated his captaincy as much. Even when he was with SRH, he was dropped in the middle of the season, if I remember. So Shikhar has never been one of those leaders or captain materials. So if at all you make anyone, just take a punt on somebody who can be, future India captain.
Yeah, I'm not saying that's something you can't do. But I just wouldn't go that way. That's my personal opinion. I believe that they're going to pick someone, either Dhawan or Pandya for captain. I think that would be where they'll go. And I think that's evidenced by the way that the relationship between Dhawan and Shaw as well. The Dhawan even plays as the mentor to Shaw. So I would be surprised that Shaw would captain when Dhawan's on the side. Then, if you think that way about Dhawan, then why is he there at all?
No, but his side, his place in the side is never questioned, especially in ODIs and with T20 as well. How he performed in the IPL, I think his spot in both the formats are a given at this point of time. But again, my point is, just because he's the best batsman or the most experienced, that shouldn't be the criteria to be a candidate for captaincy.
No, okay, you're entitled to your opinion, but I disagree with you.
Yeah, Ashwani, he was saying something.
Yeah, I agree with Norman's point because I saw Shikhar for around 8 to 10 years. I think Shikhar is going to Sri Lanka because of his experience. Otherwise, selectors have not selected him. I think Prithvi Shaw can become vice captain because I also follow Prithvi Shaw for around 4 to 5 years. He's captaining from age group cricket, so he has the experience to captain lads. So I think Shikhar is a good option for captaining. He's a good captaining option for them. I think.
I think the decision's been made, to be honest.
Made.
I think the decision's been made. I think Shikhar Dhawan.
I think Shikhar will be the captain. Shikhar will be the captain.
But what if Shreyas Iyer is available? Then I don't think Shikhar will get the captaincy.
Well, Shreyas Iyer at this point in time has got no form on the board because he's been injured, so he's unlikely to play.
Okay, I think Shreyas lacks match practice. Shreyas lacks match practice. That is the big disadvantage to him.
Yeah, but
we've got a question from a guy called He's asked Ashwani a question directly. Answer that, Ashwani. Can you read that out?
Can India try out the bench strength? Because no. If you have the best available squad, why you try bench strength in that crucial WTC final match? I think India will go with their best squad. I think you can try bench strength if you playing practice matches. I think bench strength is available. Otherwise, if you have a strong squad, then why you try bench strength?
Yeah, I agree. You don't. India has got too many good players at the moment, and they want to try everybody out. Now, in Australia, they had to because there were 9 players out, and it worked fantastically.
There were forced changes.
Exactly, but I think they're going to be very careful. In England, you won't have that opportunity because it's one match. They won't have any reason to be injured because they won't be playing anything before, unless they fall down the stairs or something. They're going to be all, and it's because it's a final, and it's something. It's very, very. It's a serious match. It's not just a test series match. It should be treated as the final of finals. I want a lot of excitement. I want the best players in the field, and I think that we'll find that to get 20 wickets, you're going to need 4 bowlers, as in 4 medium to fast bowlers.
Norman, I have one question for you. What do you make about Greg Chappell's recent comments about that Australia not producing enough young talent with compared to England and India?
Oh, Greg Chappell, he's a very knowledgeable man. I respect him greatly. But sometimes I'm not sure about his thought processes. He had some real issues when he was coach of India, didn't he? He and Ganguly and the rest of them, a lot of dissension there. Greg Chappell has made some very bizarre decisions throughout his career, everything from the underarm gate back in his day. I'm not too sure about. It's a bit hard to work out exactly what Greg Chappell's getting at. I think with what he's planning, everybody wants to fix Australian cricket all of a sudden because it's not going well. The reality is we're not having enough cricket. We're not keeping players. Players shouldn't be allowed to move states, whether you're in the Ranji Trophy or in the IPL or in county cricket or in our domestic Sheffield Shield. You should not continue to throw players around like they're being sold on the market. That's what damages a team. You need to have a sense of camaraderie around a team, and that's what builds a team. And I think too many competitions don't have that anymore. You just bounce around like there's a yo-yo. If you look at the IPL, CSK were a great unit because they kept the same team for a long period of time. I think we've got to be wary of that when we do this. Greg Chappell, I'm not convinced, and I'm not even sure why we're listening to him. To be honest, he's not the person to make that decision.
But I think there is a lot of sense in the comment he made. If you just look at that comment, the other day, Norman, we were talking how there is a limited stock coming from Australia in terms of batting. I mean, the best average in domestic is Cameron Green, who's actually an all-rounder. He's not a specialist batsman as well. So there is a capacity. I mean, we were talking about Curtis Patterson, probably just. So we could only think of a couple of names, but when it comes to India and England, you already seen they have different squads for test matches and white ball. So I think his comment is right over here.
Well, the reality is Australia's going to go through a slump. It's going to go through a down point. We have to face the fact that we simply haven't got the depth. We have to restock and rebuild and improve our grassroots cricket. Men's cricket in Australia, percentage-wise, numbers-wise, has dropped. Over the last, say, I'll even go 10 years, the number of participating kids or even adults playing cricket has dropped quite significantly. And in particular, in states where we were hopefully growing. Women's cricket, on the other hand, has gone through the roof. There are more women playing cricket than ever. So what does that tell you? I think it's, you know what it tells you? The people the iconic players they watch are failing, meaning they're failing to inspire. And don't forget what happened with Steve Smith, Cameron Bancroft, and Dave Warner, which is now what, 4 years ago or thereabouts? I can't remember how many years ago. It's a fair few years ago.
3.
It's actually turned people off cricket, I'm afraid. I really think that's true. And I think even before that, we were waning with some of our players and there was some selection headaches. We haven't been inspiring at all. And that's half the battle. And I think that's where the problem lies, is our top players now have to stand up and show their force. We haven't got the romance of players to watch anymore. Warner's off, let's be honest. Even Steve Smith is off. Labuschagne, I'm sorry, is not that great a player to watch. There isn't much out there to watch. That's our problem. We were at our best. That's what
Norman, Greg also made an interesting comment. He says that Shield cricket should be starting from August time, which is, I think, not matches with Australians' cricketing season.
Sorry, I didn't get that. What did you say? Say that again.
Yeah, he said that Shield cricket should be starting from August so that it don't be clashing with BBL.
Well, when you go into August, you're going into other sports. Rugby league, AFL are all heavily against their semi-finals and finals time starts up. So no, I don't agree with that. The BBL, to me, is far too long. Far too long.
Yes. IPL too.
IPL is also too long. And we need to play more, in our eyes, Sheffield Shield and more cricket where those players get an opportunity. They got very few opportunities this year. They played a bit of cricket towards the end, but they were out of form because they weren't playing enough. It's as simple as that. So I don't know whether necessarily extending it to fit more BBL. How about you shorten the BBL? It was an atrocious year for them. The BBL was very boring this year. Very boring. Far too long. And COVID didn't help.
Okay.
Why is India being more successful? Why is England being more successful? Because their top players are playing well and people are aspiring to beat them. Australian players are not playing well. We're going through like South Africa is, like the West Indies are, our three teams were always a force. They're going through a slump, and India's come to the fore, England's come to the fore, even New Zealand. They're the teams which are going to dominate the next 10 years.
Australia is much better than West Indies and South Africa at this point.
I would disagree. I would say that we're heading down like this at the moment. We're not going up like that. We've got to wait. We're still going down.
By the way, today Test rankings are put out, and Australia has gone to 4th, and West Indies they have jumped to 6th for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, but South Africa's also down too.
Yeah,
and New Zealand, England, and India are the top 3. Well, that's where they should be.
South Africa has gone below West Indies. That's a huge thing.
Well, I mean, even Sri Lanka, there's a lot of problems there. There's a top 3 at the moment. Australia is not top 3.
Norman, I wanted to ask you about the decision for Sri Lanka to actually drop Karuna Ratne, Angelo Matthews, Chandimal. I mean, they've made another new captain this time, Kushal Pereira, in the ODIs. What do you make of that? I mean, Karuna Ratne was among runs as well. He should have been continued with, isn't it?
In the short format, he's probably not a one-day player or a short format player, to be honest with you.
Yes.
Not T20 for sure, but ODIs maybe.
Yeah, Dinesh Chandimal and Angelo Matthews are getting on in age, by the way. They're not young anymore. They're Angelo Matthews is probably going to continue to be a test player, and that's it. So I don't think that's an issue. I think that's quite acceptable. Not because Angelo Matthews is not good enough, but he's simply past his best. I think that's a fair moment to. I don't think there's a problem with what Sri Lanka have done, to be honest with you. They tend to go back to Dinesh Chandimal and go back to Angelo Matthews where other players aren't given a chance. You can't keep doing that. Naroshan Dickwella is the player. There are 2 players in world cricket that I want to see play to their potential. That's Naroshan Dickwella, who can score centuries at any level, and Jason Sangha in Australia. If those 2 reach their potential, we've got legends, because Jason Sangha's technique is like a VVS Laxman. It's beautiful to watch.
Norman, I want to mention another player, Paramupal. I think he played in Under-19 World Cup in 2018.
Oh, yeah.
He looks more compact than Jason Sangha.
Oh, for sure. I really honestly don't think we're going to see Prithvi Shaw in the Test colours for India. They've got a lot of players ahead of him now. Padikkal, for example.
Yes.
Yeah, but Prithvi is just 2021. So even after...
Prithvi has a lot of time left in him. I think around 10 to 15.
Not about his age. But India, come on. India blood these blokes pretty young. What are you talking about? 2021 is old. Sachin Tendulkar started when he was 16.
16, yeah.
I think Gill's in front of him. And Robert Sharma's not going anywhere. Kohli's not going anywhere.
There's Rituraj Gaikwad as well for the future test.
Exactly. I think Prithvi Shaw blew it in Australia. He showed some very bad shot selections, very bad.
But you know what? Just like Prithvi had a bad series over there, Shubman Gill left an impact, but then Shubman failed against England as well after just 150. So I think this England series would be Shubman's test as well. If he fails there again, you might actually see him being replaced by somebody else then.
So I normally favour India, but I think New Zealand's going to beat them in the World Test Championship.
Yes.
But with the actual Test series against England, will be a different story. It could be a lot closer. But I think the World Test Championship, New Zealand will be ready, and India will be underdone.
Okay, what if New Zealand actually loses to England 2-0 or 1-0, whatever, before the final? Then what would you say? Would New Zealand still be favourites?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I don't. It's not about the result of those 2 matches. The most important match is the World Test Championship. So the fact that they'll have physical experience against England, which is probably a better attack than India in England. England's a better attack than India. Okay.
I mean, it depends whom they play. As we talked, Archer might not play that game, so it will be.
No, but I'm saying but I'm just saying generally. Anderson, Broad, even Ollie, what's his name? What's the other Ollie?
Chris Woakes, Stone.
You know, they got Truck, Mark Wood. They've got a lot of bowlers who can bowl well. Sam Curran. I don't think there's much concern about that. I don't think it's the result of that match which will be the most important thing. It's how much experience and exposure New Zealand get to the conditions that will help them be ready for the World Test Championship. Whereas India is doing nothing except for practice.
Norman, I want to continue my question regarding India's form in England. From 2011, I saw India's result. India beaten by England 4-0. Then 2014, they're beaten with 3-1. Then in England, they perform better, but still they beaten by England 4-1. What's the main reason behind this? Why they outperformed by England so consistently in England?
Why are India out of form in England, you're saying?
Yes, outperformed by England. Because Indian players don't play county cricket enough.
No doubt. And they were trying to get Pujara to play more. That's why Vihari was very clever going there early. And I think, quite seriously, that some of the other Indian players should have went there early as well.
Actually, Shreyas Iyer was also supposed to go and play county, but got injured.
The problem is the IPL finished, how long ago? 2 weeks, 10 days ago. Why did India's entry into England start earlier? Why didn't they go there now and play the game?
Yes.
Why didn't they play the game? I don't understand. They actually had a month extra to go there early. Why didn't they go there? Because if they played IPL, they'd be still playing now. I don't understand why they didn't go physically.
But I think, if you ask me, why India couldn't win the previous series, especially, it was probably because of bad selection calls as well. I mean, Kohli and Ravi Shastri have made some blunders in terms of selection at several occasions. If you remember last time in England, they played Kuldeep Yadav on a Lord's Green pitch where actually Chris Woakes ended up making a century. They didn't play Pujara in a game or two. They dropped Ajinkya Rahane in South Africa. So they've made these blunders and they kept giving KL Rahul chances. They actually went with Shikhar Dhawan, who actually failed in a couple of test matches and only then they dropped him. So I think bad calls and selection cost them the last series. And Sam Curran was different. He made so many runs coming down the order.
Yeah, okay. Just go back to the facts of it. Preparation for any match is important, especially if it's a one-off and it's the World Test Championship, which is the so-called pinnacle of Test cricket, which shouldn't be treated that way. India needed to have more time. They were given the fortunate luck of having the IPL finish almost a month early. So why didn't they go there early and then arrange a quickly organised match against anyone beforehand? They could have played, well, not England, they could have played anyone there. They could have played a county side.
Norman, I have that point before IPL starts 2008. Before that, India's record in England is very satisfactory. They won series in England in 2007, 1-0. I think then 2002, they drew the series. Before that, they lost the series 1-0. But I think they performed better. I think Tendulkar scores 200 there. I think before IPL, their situation in England is much better. After the IPL, their scheduling is like this because IPL matches is in huge numbers, so they don't get chance to groom in England conditions so early. I think they need to adjust the scheduling well and get more matches with the county teams.
See, this year it's better because after last time they decided that we won't really travel for white ball and red ball together. So this year they are playing only 5 test matches, and next year then India go for white ball. So this year, if the situation was normal, probably they would have gone a bit earlier and played a couple of county matches as well. But since, COVID and quarantine and everything is there, maybe that's why they're not getting to play games. Because in July, so I think the first test match starts in the first week of August. And in July, England is already playing Sri Lanka and Pakistan. And then there will be the 100 also going on. So I don't think any county teams would be available. The quality ones, maybe second 11 might be.
Second 11 will be available.
Yeah, so I think the scheduling from India's side was better, but they were probably unlucky in a way that, COVID thing happened and then the 100 is also starting. So even going early wouldn't have made a lot of difference this year.
Oh, they needed if they played a game, it would have made difference. If they played a game, they would have made difference.
But there's no scope of playing, right? Because as we said, the scheduling is such, the 100 would be going on, England series would be going on. How will they get a chance?
Yeah, before IPL, India get to play with a lot of county teams.
It wasn't so much. It's not just the opposition. It's just playing a proper game in English conditions, leading into a match like this. You needed to play a game.
Yeah, I think all they can do right now is play intra-squad games among themselves.
Well, hopefully they can do that, but it's going to be a bit difficult for them. And New Zealand pacers will be ready for them. I don't think it'll last 5 days. I think it'll be over before then. I think the wickets will fall quite heavily. I think India will be exposed in the batting because they've got a lot of right-handers. They've got a lot of right-handers that are good enough to actually. What was that signal? What was the signal? What did you just do?
There's a fingers crossed that your statement doesn't come true.
I'm not being nasty when I say that. I'm telling the facts that they're good enough to get edges. Sharma, Gill, Rahane, and also Kohli. Those 4 nick quite a lot. Why? Because they're good enough to get their bat on the ball. Pujara is the only one that knows how. The Indian top 5, the only person that knows how to lead properly is Pujara.
Yeah.
Gill and Shaw play at the ball. Kohli and Rahane play at the ball. They're not good. Those 4 don't leave the ball very often, but Pujara does. And England will know that. Not England. New Zealand will know that, and they'll bowl accordingly. And you'll see a bit like that game where they got out for 36. Remember that? Everything that McGrath, Hazelwood, and Cummins bowled, they got the nick. It was bad luck for India, but that potentially could happen again. Not because India are not good. It's just that they're probably too good. They're able to actually get the edge.
I think best player I saw in England conditions from India is Rahul Dravid because he plays the ball late. And I think I listen from a former player. If you want to succeed in England, you have to curb your ego. You can't play on the up shots.
That's right. I think it's Pujara is the most important batter in that side come the series. And maybe Vihari will be as well because of his exposure to the wickets. He may have learnt to bat in a manner which suits those pitches. You might see Vihari selected because even though he hasn't scored big scores there, by the way, he's had quite a few low scores, but he's had exposure to the grounds and the conditions. And I'm sure, and Vihari, what I can remember about Vihari, he lets the ball go. I think the key to playing in England is letting the ball go. When a ball's moving around you, you learn to let the ball go. Make the bowler
play the ball as late as you can.
Yes. The bowler must bowl to you. The bowler has to bowl to you and bring the ball to you, and then you can start to play shots.
See, in 2014, Rahane had a good series. Then 2018, Kohli had a great series as well. So it's not like Indian batsmen can't play or they can't leave balls because these 2 guys.
It's the complete opposite. They're too good a batter and they're capable of getting edges. That's the problem.
No. But my point is, as you said, only Pujara is a good lever of the ball. But I think these 2 examples which I gave, Rahane left well in that 2014 series. Kohli did well in 2018, leaving the balls as well. So it's not like these guys can't really play. And it's all about, coming.
I mean, the reality is that Kohli's not in form at all. Okay? Rahane, we haven't seen much of him because he didn't play much in the IPL, for example. He looked okay, but he's still somewhat out of form. If you're not playing games, which they haven't, and they're going straight to England and going out of quarantine and playing only a bit of knockabout practice, they're both going to be fairly right if Southey and Bolt and Jamieson and Wagner get their act together, which they will in the practice matches, and don't injure themselves, of course, as well.
I'm not sure if Bolt is actually playing those 2 test matches. He has gone back home.
Yes, he is gone back home. He will not play.
But he's coming for the World Test Championship, isn't he?
Yeah. For the final, he'll come back, but he's not playing that.
Well, Bolt probably doesn't need to. I mean, Bolt's pretty experienced. As long as he's playing. So he's that's okay. He needed a break. That's okay. But most of them will be playing. Especially the batters.
Okay. Anyway, Norman, I had to go at 9 o'clock. So
all right. So we'll finish up, guys. That's good, guys. You both can go. Let's. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Norman. See you next time.
Thank you.
Ciao, guys. You going, Ashwin?
Yeah, I will go. Yeah, you remove me.
No, you got to remove yourself. You got
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
That cricket guy, you want to join? I don't know who you are. Can you give me a name? You got to tell me who you are. Where are you from? I don't know who you are, so you have to. I need a name. I can't just go off that, please. All right. So I wanted to talk about Australian cricket for a little while. The fact is, Australia have actually had a situation where we really are in a situation where Australia are in a downward slide for a period of time. We're going to suffer for a period of time, and we're going to have a situation where we're going to need to struggle. We need to revive ourselves and find our feet again. That's an unfortunate fact that's happened to many other teams around the world, including India at certain stages, even England, certainly South Africa, currently West Indies, as we know, and Sri Lanka. There's been teams, all teams go through slumps. Australia has had a slump for a long, long time, probably since, my God, almost the 80s. Maybe early 90s would be the last time we really had a true slump. So it's been a long time. So it's not a problem. That cricket guy, Savan from Odisha, I won't put you on today because I don't know you. Whereas Kesha I knew, another fellow I knew through Kesha. So you've got your own channel, I know that. So we'll talk about that in the future. We'll get you on, but not now. So that's you. Is that you there, Savan Garnak? Okay. You need to hang on. What's the actual question? At this point, there are certainly going to be media allowed. I don't think, as far as I'm aware, there's no crowd at this point, but that could change because England have gone through an improved situation over time. They changed from Lords, of course, to this ground. They're not getting crowds for any of the other matches, especially in England or in London. So with this being Southampton, we may see, but at this point, it's a no. It's a no to the ground being used. So, all right, guys, we might, for me to have someone go live, I need to have credentials. So we need more than just that. Saban Garnak, well, I will get you on another time. Okay, I'll get a hold of you on Instagram. I'll check, maybe next feed I'll take you on, okay? But not today. I've got to be fair to my channel. I've got to be able to have. So you're saying you got me on Instagram. I'm not seeing it. Whereabouts on Instagram did you post me? I'm not seeing anything on Instagram at this point. No. All right. Yeah, this is an interesting point. The fact is that we have a situation there where Mohammad Amir has wanted to expressed interest in playing the IPL, and his Pakistani background, he may be considering a move to or citizenship in England, which is he's all well and good. Mohammad Amir has had a very checkered career. He's had a great career in a lot of ways, and marred by that horrible match fixing situation. Even though it wasn't his fault, well, still his fault, but he was given a bit more of a push by certain, like Simon Butt and the like. Very unfortunate. So in terms of my T-shirt, I've got a new. I had one I showed you earlier, which wasn't that great. I'm actually getting a better former T-shirt and a hat coming out very shortly. The hat will be very much like this. It'll be very similar and woven, the same material, same. It'll have yellow stumps and a red V. It'll have the wording. I'm going to have that coming out very soon. I hope to in the next couple of weeks you'll see that. So don't worry, guys, we'll have that ready for you. So it'll be there for us to check. So I think I need to finish up now, guys. I think we've had a long session today. It's been great. Please tell what am I selling? What am I selling? About the other question you're asking, I'm not going to be answering that question. Okay. So I want to make quarantine easy for us. I want you to be able to appreciate what, what you're going through. You can talk to me. Ask me questions. So if you want me to keep going now, you need to ask me some questions. At least some questions. I've got not a flu, but a bit of a cold, which is annoying me. Why did the Bashka Asani is asking, why did current generation of Indian batsmen play pace better bowling? Well, the reason why is because you're getting more bowlers coming through, especially in the northern regions and southern regions of India. We have a lot of young blokes wanting to bowl fast bowling. Therefore, the exposure is more. Also, the IPL. You had a number of players playing in the IPL, so they're getting more and more exposure to it. So, yep. The shirts will be coming out soon. You notice on the YouTube channel there is a so-called store button, a merchandising button. This is why I haven't been on the last couple of nights, because I've been sneezing this whole time. So, yeah, 90s batsmen play well in England. That's true. Can Australian cricketers walk alone on the streets? I certainly can. No problems at all. They do it all the time. In fact, Coogee Bay Road, Coogee, which I take most of my film clips from, you've seen me do. Today I saw George Bailey. I saw people like football players there all the time. Very common. Very free to walk the streets. It's not like in anywhere you can get mobbed. Not mobbed as in badly, but just many people who were supposed wanting to meet up with him. It's something of a situation where Australia is pretty easygoing. We stay away from people generally. We don't normally crowd them. So we're pretty good like that, actually. Kane Williamson, your questions are in another language. I'm not going to answer if they're rude. I've been warned that your questions are rude, so I'm not going to answer them, okay? So please don't ask. That's a great question. This is a very, very good question. Should New Zealand domestic team be allowed to be in the franchise? I think they should. Why not? We play a lot of trans-Tasman performances, whether it's cricket or but then New Zealand's got their own competition. Maybe they don't want to spoil that. Perhaps that's what it is. But yeah, I can't see any reason why not. We do it with rugby league. We do it with most other sports. So I would think that's very plausible that we can do it with that as well. So why not? Why not? Can't see any reason why we can't do that. Dikshan and Andy, if I don't trust I'm not the other sniffle, guys. Nothing. I really don't. I'm fine, guys. I'm just a bit of a sniffle, that's all. All right. Did I see Tim Payne's statement? Yes, I did. Tim Payne's a bit annoyed with what's going on. There's a lot of talk about his position. And look, even though he isn't necessarily the best captain in the world, he certainly is the current captain. So until he's not the captain, he's the current captain. Simple. And someone like Steve Smith shouldn't come out and say things against anything to do with it. So it's really wrong. Or he's All Blacks or Wallabies or All Blacks. Well, Wallabies aren't as good as the All Blacks. It's very simple. Really, I mean, All Blacks are far superior and have been far superior for a long, long time. What are you saying now about India? About India distraction? Explain, Ray. Explain further what you want to ask questions for. Ask the question. The Indian distraction. The reality was that if Tim Payne blames anything other than the players not playing well, there was no Indian distraction. The fact that India played better than Australia, full stop. India were the better team, full stop. India had depleted by 9 players and still played better, full stop. Tim Payne was inferior with his captaincy. He made mistakes. They should have won the match in Sydney, and they shouldn't have lost the match in the Gabba. Simple. I think you're right. Dave Warner's, well, at least he was sacked from the captaincy of Sunrise Hyderabad for many reasons. So there's a lot going on there with him. A lot going on. How New Zealand is so good in all sports with forming, it is amazing. They are pound for pound better than anyone in the world, especially from a rugby union perspective. Oh my God. We need more straightforward journalists like me. I just tell the truth. I mean, I don't think Dave Warner should have been captain of the Sunrise Hyderabad. He made mistakes. He refused to name 4 players' names, which was abysmal. He started to bag the coaching, the selections. No, he shouldn't be doing that. He was given almost 3 strikes. Trevor Bayliss would have had enough. Maybe Tom Moody was putting up with it. I don't know. But yeah, the truth is there were too many coaches there as well. It was a real mess. The problem with these 2 players, Shaw or Gill, who was a better player? Shaw certainly did look a better player when he was in under 19s and like, but Gill has proven to have this temperament of his batting. And he may be, I've said before, Gill, Rohit Sharma, Rahane and Kohli are notorious nickers of a James Anderson type delivery or a short broad or anyone of that nature. So they're going to find it very hard in England against those players. They might be too good. So they've got to learn to let the ball go. Pujara lets a lot of balls go, but I think the other 4 need to learn how to let the ball go. Rishabh Pant tends to get the ball in the middle and hit it for 6, different story. They need to learn to leave the ball go, especially when it's on off stump moving away. Drop the guard, let it go through. Don't touch it. Because the moment you lift and you try to play with the ball, you're going to nick it. And that's the problem with England. That's why the short broads got Steve Smith and Mike Clark back out a lot during that time as well. They were very much in that position where they nick the ball. And unfortunately, they're too good. They do nick the ball. Chris Van Cam, I'm not going to mention the word you put down. I know it's not right. How are Australia so confident in the walk of life? Well, it's true to our name. We don't tell too many lies. We tend to be just straight up front and honest. We don't suffer fools. As much boring as we tell them. May not be very diplomatic on occasions. We're not that humble. Well, we are kind of down to earth rather than humble. We tend to just tell the truth. If we don't like something, we say it. Enough's enough. Finish. And India, nothing wrong with it. They were generally very polite, and sometimes didn't say that, but they're learning. I think Kohli's done wonders. First of all, Dhoni, and then Kohli. They both done wonders. Really, there were 3: Ganguly, Dhoni, and Dhoni, Kohli, and even now Punt. There's an evolution happening there. Ganguly stood up to Australia. Dhoni took it to another level. Kohli to even another level. And Punt could potentially take it to another level as well. Those 4 people have had guts. The fear factor is drawn to a close. Clearly, it ended with Kohli. He dragged the fear factor out of Australians, and Punt's just continued on, which has just been amazing. Really is an outstanding situation. Again, the evolution. Ganguly to Dhoni to Kohli to Punt. You may have also thrown Chappell into that bunch as well. There you have 5 captains that really show their mettle. Really good. Chappell won a World Cup. Dhoni won a World Cup. Ganguly won a lot of test matches. Kohli's now in that mode. He's won a lot of matches, a lot of series, and it's also going to be Punt's future. And that's where the differences are. That's where you can set yourself apart from other people. All right, guys. It's time that I leave. So thanks again for your time, guys. We'll talk to each other again soon. Thanks for joining in. Hopefully we'll be there tomorrow night with an Aussie in a problem with Chris Vernon. So all the best. Make your comments. And make your comments on post this video finishing. Go to the comment section again, not the ones that you're just commenting on now. Go to the actual post-match one and put comments there, please. I'd like to see them there. So, and comment further. So thanks again for your time. Don't forget to view, like, and share the post. And if you're not subscribing, please subscribe. Please subscribe. Otherwise, if you don't subscribe, I can't. Music Harming. Thoughts on Tim Payne's immature statement regarding BG Trophy. It is immature. He's lacked a bit of. It was quite a pathetic comment, right? Music Harming. Usher Bogey's pretty good. That clearly was one of the best batting lines India ever had. Amazing. All of them. All right, guys. So again, view, like, and share the posts. So please subscribe. Some of you don't have logins. Log in and create an actual login and subscribe. Some of you are members. Do that. Not just simply come on this link and make comment. I'd like to see you go further than that. It's important that you help the channel grow. IPL could be in England. They're saying that, but it could be in the UAE as well. It could be in Sri Lanka. Good idea. I think the postponement of the IPL this year is done. I think there'll be no result. There'll be a postponed tournament. They won't be squeezing it in anywhere. It's just going to take too long. There'll be no room for it to be played. It won't get played in World Cup time slots. The players won't be available for other time slots. I think that's... Cameron White would have been a great captain. Well, he would have been pretty good. All right, guys. All the best. We'll leave it at that, guys. I think we've gone past that. So again, view, like, and share, subscribe, even become members if you wish to, but make your comments on the posts once the video is up. So all the best, guys. View, like, and share. All right, talk to you soon. This is Norman Koshnak for Eyes on Cricket. Hats and tops coming later, and we'll get that out to you so you can be able to purchase them if you like. There'll be maybe a spray jacket like this with the words on it. There'll be Eyes on Cricket on the shirt, on a hat. The hat will have the similar colours to that blue and red, and 3 stumps with a word. So it'll be with you very soon, okay? In various colours. We'll see. We'll see, okay? All right? But I need to have a look at your details and just check your other routes along, okay, Garnick? It's important for me to do that. Otherwise, if I don't do that, I don't know who's what. I can't just, it's best to be careful who you bring on our channel. Not because of anything bad, just that you've got to be able to interact with me. I don't know whether it's good to have people come in if they're not able to interact, so that's important. All right. I'll talk to you again tomorrow, guys, okay? Got lots of good comments. Any last? I'm seeing another question. Okay, last question. Please take my question. Will Josh Phillip get a chance in 2020 World Cup? Unlikely. I think I've seen it. Okay, so normal Captaincy fan. Oh my God. All right, guys. Good night. See you later.